Hello and welcome to Conversations here on NTA Network. My name is Nike and we have a full house today. I'll leave everyone to introduce themselves.
I'm Gloria.
I'm Napoleon.
My name is Divan.
My name is Edith. Welcome.
All right, we have a very big topic to discuss today. It's about sex in marriage. Now, for lots of people out there, you'll be like, sex in marriage, what angles are we going to take? We're going to try and cover all the bases. We're going to talk about who gets to initiate sex. Is it the guy's job or is it the girl's job? And then there's a lot of talk about whether or not women use sex as a bargaining chip. But before we get into all that, we want to hear from the people on the streets about what they think about sex in marriage.
Why would you use sex as a blackmail to get what you want? I think it's absurd. It shouldn't be done in the first place. It's something mutual, and I think they should share it mutually. And you don't use that because you want something from your spouse, and then you use it as a weapon to get back or force the person to do what you want.
Some husbands love sex. And if some women, it depends on individuals. Some women will want to please their husband with the sex to get whatever they want. But it now depends on you. If what you want, maybe like now I want to get money from my husband and I know his weak points. I will not look for a way to use the weak points to get what I want from him. But if it is sex, at times, I don't really believe much in sex. I'm sorry. I'm not that crazy about sex. You understand? Then if you know that is what he wants, you just tell her, oh, please, I need this one. But if you refuse, maybe at night, if both of you are on the bed, you look for a way to pet him. Use your hand to rub and say, oh, please, darling, please, can you help me? That thing I told you earlier, please, I'm trying to remind you. But if you now said no, you leave it.
Sex should not be used for as like a ticket to get something from a man. Okay, if you want to get something from a man, it shouldn't be because of sex, right? So I believe sex it was created by God for married pleasure, not because of you want to get something from somebody.
Well, biblically, it's wrong. It's wrong. You are not supposed to use sex as a tool to withhold, to deny your husband because you want something. It's very wrong. You need to talk with your husband. People should come to terms, understand yourself very well, and always appreciate him. The more you appreciate him, you know that he always meets your need.
And nowadays, ladies just see it as a very easy way they can just get a man by luring him through sex. So, but I believe it's very wrong. But I know, and some guys they really like it because once they met a lady, the next thing they want is sex. So that is why the lady now see it as maybe that is what a man wants before marriage. But I believe biblically and the other way around is very wrong.
What I understand is like you have to give something in order to get something in order to give something. And in a marriage, that means that is not a marriage, right? It's supposed to be like marriage is togetherness, till death do you part, and whatever that comes with it. But to give and get, I don't think it's right.
A man who decides to blackmail his wife for sex, I think he has already put an asunder in his marriage. So it is not proper, it is ungodly, and it is uncalled for.
I don't think in gender boxes at all. I just get on with it.
A man that would dare to ask the wife, who do you think you are? That is a real man.
In fact, our husbands are our firstborns. The husband needs more attention than even the children.
It's not only about work, it's not only about family. They need to take the time to look after themselves, and we don't do that.
They took my money, I paid every fees. I never asked to be hoisted as a governor. I wanted to be allowed to go out there and contest for the position of governorship candidate first.
There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others.
Empowered to women. Yes, we need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working.
Definitely.
So guys, sex in marriage. Who's going to go first?
Should I?
Go ahead, Gloria.
We'll commence the topic by knowing the concepts of marriage.
Okay.
And what is marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is legally or officially the institute between a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That is the meaning of marriage. And to take it further, when we talk about sexual intercourse, we are talking about the privileges and rights that a man and a woman exercise in their marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, let me just call it physical intimacy.
Privileges.
Let's not get very dictionary about this. But essentially, for me, sex in marriage, yeah. But we also know that there's a lot of people who are doing sex outside marriage.
Yeah.
Premarital sex, sex outside the confines of marriage. People who are married but doing things with people who are not their partners, and so on and so
yes.
forth. So there's a whole gamut to it, and I think it starts from how someone has been socialized growing up before they even become full-grown adults and enter into the institution of marriage.
Mm.
And nowadays, you'll find that sex is not as taboo as it once was.
Yeah.
There's so much of it everywhere, especially in the media, both traditional media, social media, it's on the internet. And then for those of us who love giving our very small children smartphones because we want to show everybody how posh we are. So your 7-year-old is carrying an iPhone around. That child has access to online sites like you wouldn't imagine. Because these things, you don't have to go looking for it. You are on an entirely innocent page. You click the wrong button and something you never anticipated just pops up.
Yeah.
So people are becoming sexualized younger and younger and younger. So that changes the whole context of sex, how it should be used, how it is being used, and so on and so forth. And it comes with a lot of issues, in my opinion.
Well, as Devin has said, the media has a big role. But before we are exposed to the media, we first of all have the family unit. What's it like within the family unit? What did you perceive as intimacy between your parents? These are the things that also groom us for what it will be like when we are married. Because we have to see, even if it is exposed to us through the media, we have to see living human beings who have practiced this thing and how it has been exposed to us. That plays a big role because we take it into adulthood, whether or not we know. So, who brought you up? What was the intimacy like between your parents? It determines a lot about the intimacy you have with your own husband in marriage. But then again, as she said, it's an institution, number one. So as an adult, you're a full-grown adult, a whole person, not looking to be somebody's half. You're a whole person coming with your complex, with the things, the good side and the bad side that every human being has. And then your husband is a whole person, coming with his own background, everything he has. He comes a full package. Then both of you are going to sit down and agree and explore intimacy within that. One basic thing that I have to say right now is that if you're friends, intimacy comes easier. If you're friends with your spouse, intimacy comes easier. So these are some of the basics. There are red flags everywhere, whether this is going to last or not. Intimacy is a big part of a marriage. Very big part. I've seen people on pulpits, I mean men of God, so to say, talking directly to the congregation and asking why sex has become such a big reason for divorce. Even in churches. I don't know about in other religions, but I know that in Christianity right now, sex is a very big issue and families are breaking down because of that thing called sex. So really, without crossing some red lines, because this is national TV, I have to say that people have to be friends. People have to communicate. You have to know who you're getting married to before you get into the institution, because it's something you get into hopefully for a long haul.
Now, something you said, Edith, about knowing who you are and growing up and what were you exposed to. My growing up, my parents weren't very big on public display of affection. So was that a good thing for me? Was that a bad thing? Most of our parents I didn't see my dad throwing his arm around my mom very often, you know. So I don't know if I was really exposed to intimacy and if that was going to help me along the line in my years of growing up. I don't know.
Louis, well, you're right. Now that I put my mind to it, now that I put my mind to it, I don't recall my parents in a hug. I don't recall seeing my mother sitting on my father's lap. You know, you'd be sitting way over there, she'd be sitting here and carrying on like, and now because we're socialized so differently, like my husband is leaving the house, I'm likely to give him a hug and a peck in front of everybody. When he comes in, I give him a hug and a peck too, that kind of stuff. So they're used to it, they see it in the house all the time. We don't go overboard, but they see at least small displays of affection. Yeah. They can be sitting there and I'll come and plunk myself on his lap and stuff like that. I want them to be reasonably used to, at least some of that stuff, so that it's not so alien, it's only something they see on TV and all that. And so that it's not a shock if I suddenly produce a baby. Yeah.
Another point in issue is whether there should be sex before marriage. As interaction is going on between these parties, of course they are friends. They've chosen to be friends. During that intimacy, should sexual intercourse take place? I think that is the roots.
Well, Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. I think when it comes to social needs, there's intimacy. I think part of it is sex. So sex becomes a very serious component of marriage, which unfortunately people shy away from discussing it, which I think has caused a lot of problems in marriages. There are researches that 70% of broken marriages are normally based on sex issues, sex-related issues, whether outright denial based on some factors or incompatibility. The man is not compatible with the woman is all outright denial based on certain factor. I want to use that to get this, I want to use that to get that. But that shouldn't be the case. It's something that we're supposed to discuss before marriage and after marriage. It's something that's supposed to be discussed, ongoing discussion every day, because we keep discovering your person every day. There are certain things you will want your guy or your woman to know while you are in courtship. But once you get into that marriage, there shouldn't be anything hidden again. So I feel like Madame said, should we have it before marriage or should we discuss it? Those are the
You know,
serious issues.
there was this meme on social media. I am one of those who goes through a lot of stuff. I read vociferously on social media, in books, and there was this silly meme that was going on that, okay, you need a woman to be experienced, or you need a man to be experienced, yet you're talking purity and chastity. Where is the man going to get the experience from? Where is she going to get that experience from? You understand? Experience counts for something. It isn't everything. If we go by the religious books, then you're not supposed to have that experience, whether the man or the woman, at all. But the reality is that when hormones are banging, things are going to happen.
True.
Things are going to happen. So we have to find a middle ground. For me, I'm not a prude. I've come to the realization that, you know what, sex almost sells everything. Even somebody is advertising a tub of butter. There's always something about it, about giving you satisfaction. This is going to give you satisfaction. That main satisfaction concept is a very sexual concept. So you see, we can't run away from it. It bombards us every day. And it is an inherent part of our lives. It is training, it is conditioning that will now tell you how you deal with your sexuality, for good or for bad. So if you've experienced it outside of marriage, who should stand in judgment of you? Because there are consequences sometimes if you don't know who you're marrying sexually, and then you get into the marriage and there are issues.
Good.
So who wants to sort that out after? You understand what I'm saying? So without sounding like I'm giving anybody the green light to be promiscuous, there are realities, harsh realities on ground of people who get into marriage and find out, as Napoleon has said, my bad, he's a very close friend, so we call him Napo. So there is that thing, who is going to stand in judgment, and who is now going to come and deal with this issue that you're not compatible?
Yes. You know what, we've all made the same point. She raised the question. He said something that I really wanted to chime in on. Of course, I didn't want to cut his flow of thought. He said, we unfortunately don't talk about. There's this huge taboo in which sex is wrapped in Nigeria. We're very hypocritical about it. We're very pretentious about it. And it's causing a lot of damage. Psychological damage, emotional damage, and so on and so forth. Like I said, young children are being sexualized very early because of traditional and social media, technology, the internet, online sources, and so on and so forth. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the parents anymore. And now, as a parent, you are trying to, let's say, be old-fashioned. You're trying to teach your children some of these things. Please keep yourself, respect your body is the temple of God, and this and this. They get told that in church too. Then come home to read in the paper that the same pastor was telling them about it, got somebody's wife pregnant. You understand? Then you turn green in the face trying to explain that temptation happens to everybody and all this and all this. And then it becomes a problem. The huge elephant in the room is we are sending mixed messages. In church, we tell these children, keep your bodies, remain chaste, remain pure. You have to remain, don't have sex until you get married. Usually, that's put on girls. Usually, that's the truth. In Christianity, it's supposed to be a standard for both. But even if you're reading the Bible, the emphasis at the end of the day still goes more to the women. Traditionally, it's more on the woman. So, subliminally on some level, we're telling boys it's okay to fool around. But you girls, hey, don't go out. We're going to lock you up at home. You need to remain virgins and so on and so forth. Who do you want the boys to go and sow their wild oats with? Whose other daughter is not
a chaste girl?
Should not be chaste, that your son should go and carry out experiments on. You understand? By the same token that you're allowing your son to go out and sow his wild oats, the other home is allowing their own son to come out and sow his wild oats, and you'll probably wind up sowing them on your daughter.
That's true.
So we're sending out these mixed messages, and then because we live in a world now where people lie, people are deceitful, they are mean, nasty, and small-minded, You find this young man who will come and, oh, hi, my church said this. And then you'll deceive the girl. They'll marry without doing anything.
I believe it's not really all about the church.
Let me land. 1 minute later, 1 week later, the girl discovers that he can't get it up.
Okay.
But he has now explained to her that he's going to arrange his brother, you know, and they can be doing the stuff and producing babies for him because he's always known that he has had this problem. But he's hoping that she will love him enough not to tell anybody and just manage. And it's sad.
Sounds like a script for a movie.
No, but this story is coming out. It comes out. I've heard this so many times about women being deceived into marrying men who are impotent because they pretend that they're trying to do the chastity thing. Lo and behold, you marry the guy and he's not healthy. He's not fine. He doesn't have HIV. It's not a genotype issue, but he cannot carry out his marital obligation to you. There you have a conundrum. What if you marry and then there's that sexual incompatibility? This person wants to get it on, hey, 3-4 times a day, every day, and you're happy if anything happens twice a month. How do you cope with that? Okay, the other person wants you to go for like 3 hours long, and this other person is happy if we get down for like 10 minutes. How do you cope with that? But then at the same time, do you now give young people the license to go out there and just start doing their stuff?
That is
that
it.
also comes with repercussions.
You really must.
Yeah,
there has to be
difficult.
a balancing act, and you know, young people these days are so different. Their orientation is different.
Yeah.
But I'll let you. You wanted to chip in something, so you were holding a thought.
I was coming up to say it's about individual. It's about your person. It's about your integrity when it comes to that. It's not really parental upbringing is good.
Or the church, because she was talking about the church.
Yes, because she was talking about parental upbringing and the church. The church has actually been playing a vital role when it comes to marriage is enjoyable when the bed is undefiled. You see, it's actually untold truth. These are the things people do. When you lift up the lid, you see that a lot of people actually get involved in having sexual intercourse before they get married. It has to do with your own decency as a lady.
Or as a man.
Or as a man, either. What are the things you cherish as you are growing up? Is it to sell yourself out to men? Do I want to keep my body for the altar of purity? So it is all round around. There's really no true answer to this.
Madam, I'm sorry, before I forget. Marriage is honorable when the bed is undefiled. That's what you said.
Yes.
That would have worked some 50, 75 years ago because the society was a bit, decent. Decent, you can't go out of the house without your parents knowing where you're going to. Now you're saying marriage is honorable when the bed. Okay, like me, I keep myself. I want to keep myself. I want to be a clean guy. I want to be the first person to, And then the church says, no, you shouldn't do that. Don't touch her. Don't know her. Don't even visit her. Now, I obey the church. Get into it. We are married. Get to the house. First day, second day, I'm surprised what I'm saying. For goodness sake, where will I start? Where?
Surprised about what? I didn't get that.
No, it's a national TV. I don't have to. The girl you are thinking you're marrying a wonderful woman of your life, only to discover that she's not
all that
person that you're thinking. It does happen.
Okay, so Nike, please, I need you to give me.
Yes, I want to hear Nike's view. Yeah?
I want to speak on behalf of the percentage of women that they see Napoleon here with us, and they probably have questions the way they would want to ask their husbands, but they can't actually say it.
Yes.
Number one, what are your thoughts on who gets to initiate sex? And then two, why is it that men don't seem to know how to start the right time? you know your wife, you've been married to her long enough, you should be able to tell from her body language that tonight is not the night. But some men just insist, and it's a problem. And these are part of the issues you were talking about, that most of the divorces and separations that we're experiencing are based because their sex life is just, it's going down the drain, and they can't speak to their husbands about it. But I was hoping that you could speak on behalf of men or representing of men
yes.
on such issues.
Yeah, I would say that the first question is who gets to initiate it? Sex, right? There is no fast or hard rule on this. Okay. It's like we, the men, have more of the urge. Have more of the urge more than the women.
Okay.
For instance, a woman might not necessarily need it for maybe 3 times or 2 times a week, but the man wants it.
To giggle.
I'm coming. I'm not talking about pneumonia or whatever. Yeah. I said, I'm talking about a normal woman. You know, you got to ask her to give you when you need it. We don't need too much preparation. Women need preparation too much.
We need mental preparation.
Preparation too much, which is not
the physical preparation. You need to be ready up there.
It's okay, fine, but I don't need that. I don't need that. If I need it now, I want to rush and get out. What you do?
I want to rush and get out is not what I was hoping.
No. Wait. I'll prepare for your own preparation. Sometimes the little things get us. Put me off or put us off as men.
Like what? Tell us.
Okay, like
what?
Baby, come. Let's go and close the door. Hey, children are there. Sometimes we don't need that. Go and close the door.
I'm sorry.
I'm coming.
Wait.
Go and close the door.
See, your wife must understand some of those basic things, okay? I think it's a wife that will understand.
Now you're not talking. The second one is about preparation.
Yes.
No. You have to study your woman. Yes. You have to study your woman, know when she's ready for it. You agree with her. It's actually an obligation to a man to make sure you satisfy your woman. But most times it's not on equal level. It's not on equal level.
Yes.
I would need it more than you would need it. But I don't need that preparation.
All right.
I don't need that preparation.
Is that when we hear some ladies probably use it as a bargaining chip for their marriage?
Sorry, before we even go that far.
Is that...
Nike, I want your view on premarital sex.
What my view is?
Yes.
I feel that I will know if I'm not physically attracted to you when we're dating. I will know if it's not going to work out. I'm not saying we're going to go full-blown into sex, but physically, I will know if it's going to work out.
If there's any chemistry.
Yeah, exactly, chemistry. There was a friend of mine that introduced me to this guy, and we went out on a couple of dates, and you know, after a couple of dates, my friend was like, "So, what's he like?" I said, "He's nice. He's really polite. He spends money on nice dinner and stuff like that. But honestly, I'm not physically attracted to him." I said, "Say no more," and that was it, because I knew it wasn't going to go far. If I don't feel physically attracted to you, it's not going to work. So I feel there shouldn't be any surprises by the time we finally get married. You would know if it's not going to work. I'm not saying you would know he's impotent, but you would know.
And you see, the reason I dragged us back to this thing is that it's because it's so important. The truth is, having quite a bunch of sex partners doesn't really do anything for you. Right now, we have all these sicknesses that actually have 2 legs and walk about.
Yes.
Then there's also the spiritual issue.
Yes.
There are spiritual things that come with, getting sexually involved with people. You also have the emotions. Sex, people tend to, relegate it to the purely physical. It goes beyond that.
So much more.
There's emotional engagement and so on and so forth. That is why I'll never subscribe to this notion that there's anything liberating about a one-night stand for anybody. Yeah, because some of these feminine magazines try to sell some of these really weird and nasty ideas. I don't agree. But I think that if the church particularly, I keep coming back to the church because I'm a Christian. I cannot say what's happening in Islam or in the traditional faiths. If the the Christian doctrine is really serious about not just paying lip service to people maintaining their chastity. They need to find a way to, have sex education classes for young couples. I'm sorry, I'm being very...
Couples who are about to be married, that's what you mean?
Or people who are about to be married, those who just... Because even if you're lousy, you can... If you want to learn, you can learn and improve.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who are about to get married and those who are newly married, have proper sex education classes where people are told what to do.
Okay.
So that you don't wind up in a situation where you, the man, you're totally ignorant and, you know, like empty-headed about what goes on. Same thing with the girl. And then what, you're expected to produce babies how? You understand? So if they're going to, if this is something that's going to work, let's look for practical ways of making sure that after these two naive people get married, they don't wallow in some kind of deprivation and lack of sexual satisfaction subsequently. Tell them what to do, teach them, put them through. This is what you do to satisfy your man. This is what you do to satisfy your woman.
We talk about what percentage of spirituality do you see in marriage? So we talk about spirituality, we talk about emotions. Is marriage actually a spiritual thing?
Yes.
How?
I feel that when two people are married, and that is why there's so much emphasis
before they are married, before they are married, what is the percentage of spirituality?
And that's where I'm coming.
Okay.
If you are having sex, if
Yes.
you are being physically intimate with each other, on a spiritual level, it links you. It does.
Well,
That's a whole other...
Yeah, that's a whole other level.
Yeah.
For many, it's just physical. And sincerely speaking, as he has rightly put it too, men are more with the physical. It is women that get spiritual about this. And it freaks some men out.
I don't see much of spirituality in this.
So,
I don't see much of
seriously,
spirituality in this.
Ask your pastor. Ask your pastor. Ask your pastor.
No, I don't see. The only area I see spirituality is, Lord, help me, let this marriage work.
No, that's... I think you're reading me wrong.
Excuse me. If I need to marry now, I need to open my two eyes to know the future that I need in a woman. What is spirituality about that?
I think you totally misconstrued what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very deep place.
I
saw a meme recently where it had a cartoon of a woman, same woman but in different clothes. The first one said, this is how I look when I go out and meet people I don't want to have sex with. And then another one, she looked shabby, you know, home clothes, and this is what I look like at home with the person I want to have sex with. My point is, sometimes when we're home, my hair is in a scarf. I have my long boo-boo, wearing slippers. I'm not packaged for sex. I don't look sexy. I don't have sexy nightgowns. And I know, like you said, men are very physical and they're looking for stuff like that. So I was hoping you would say some things like that women out there, women listening to conversations, get some nice sexy clothes, you know, make it work in your marriage. I'm not saying it has to be extremely provocative that even the kids are wondering what is mommy wearing, but you know, just something that seems
but at least you have to keep yourself attractive to your man.
A lot of us
you have to do that.
And I would like to drop this. That's just be the kind of lady you are, be the kind of man you are. It's not really going into intimacy, having sexual intercourse that would really make your relationship work when you are having courtship, when you are having dates. For the fact that you are the type that give into sexual intercourse thinking that this is what will probably attract the man to get married to you, at the end of the day, you get it wrong. Just be yourself, do what is right for purity's sake, for natural justice. What I'm doing, is this something I can justify? Can I beat my fingers on my chest to say, yes, this was what I did during my time? How do we advise our children? How do we advise the youth? Of course, I've seen so many situations where, of course, there were a lot of intimacy for years before they married, trying to actually know themselves in totality. but it doesn't really work out that way. It's not how much you give into intimacy that makes a better marriage at the end of it. I just feel just be the kind of woman you want to be, and just that.
All right, let me just say two things quickly. There's the fact that the Nigerian school curriculum, right, has sex education in it right now from primary school.
Oh, it does?
Oh, they do? Yeah,
I
it
didn't
does.
know.
It
From
does.
primary?
From primary school.
Okay.
My nephew just finished
bit
5th
scary.
grade, right?
Okay.
And they had quite a bit about who they are sexually, about what puberty, the
Yeah,
maturing of a young woman and the maturing of a young man and the hormones and everything. And I think that's an improvement. Because if parents are shying away from it, at least the educational system is not anymore. And I'm glad for it. Now it's left to the parents to now make these children use this positively. Because some educational stuff gets interpreted in a negative manner.
Yeah.
But at least you go through the child's book and you can see that they're teaching them quite a bit about how they're developing and their sexuality. They ought to own. You first of all have to own your sexuality before you're even able to share it with anybody else. And I think that we're just about getting into the part where you're holding back and using your sexuality as a bargaining chip. And that is another error. We come to this thing on the premise of error. I don't know why sexuality, intimacy between a man and his wife or a woman and her husband is an intimacy of somebody is giving and somebody is taking. Both of you are giving and both of you are taking. You must come to that understanding. Unless you come to that understanding. But if you're not understanding that that is the premise, then of course, then you now use sex as a bargaining tool. You understand what I'm saying? So it's reverse psychology. Why do you think that you're giving? And why do you think that he is taking?
When you say bargaining tool, in the sense of I need money to
And the lady is withholding. These are some of the issues that have come up even on the pulpit. The same, I keep going back to the pulpit. Like he's talking that a woman is withholding sex from her husband because she wants this, she wants that.
Well, I'm coming from the angle of, okay, if my children's school fees hasn't been paid, sex is really the last thing on my mind. I won't be in the mood until some issues in the family are sorted. For me, it's tied together, it's linked in some way. I don't know if I represent a small percentage of people, but I will not be in the right frame of mind for that. I'm sorry.
Let me quickly throw light to that. The word sexual intercourse as a bargaining tool for a marriage. When we look at the word bargain, it's a word that is relative. When we look at the word bargain, you talk about pricing of commodity, you talk about negotiation. Then we have another meaning. Bargain could be agreement, could be a plan, could be an understanding. This is the angle I'm saying this bargain in a relationship. I would like to say that from the onset, the value of a lady has been bargained for. When the bride price of a lady was being paid.
Bam.
Yes, my bride price was negotiated, and it has been bargained. So I am puzzled. To me, it sounds ridiculous when I hear people use it as a tool, as a power in their own relationship or in their marriage. Then how is it done? I can throw light to that too. Because, well, it depends on the couple. Different strokes for different folks.
Yes.
What will work for me, plan A, is not what will work for plan B.
Yeah.
People do it. Some will tell you, oh, it's working for me. To be very candid with you, we find out that some husbands even encourage that. And how do they do it? Ask me. Probably maybe in a round sitting table, a woman is making demands. Oh, my son is going to school tomorrow, there's this fees he has to pay. And the man like, this is not the right time to ask that. Ask me when we are in the bedroom. Or you've always known.
Oh, how is it my son?
Our son.
Our son.
Our son. So, and at the end of the day, you see that men actually encourage using it as a bargaining power, not only the women. That is the angle I'm coming from.
I see where
so then again, let me just quickly exhaust this point. The women use it too. Maybe when, just as you pointed out, and that is why I'm picking just a line with what you said.
Okay.
You shared that when I'm angry, I will not feel like having it with my husband. Women use it too as a bargaining tool. So I'm trying to say, knowing and unknowingly, these are the untold truths in relationship or in marriage.
Okay.
We do it. But should this be encouraged? And how far again can a woman, I'm dropping these issues really, how far can a woman go with that? Because to me, it's like letting the man loose. It's like giving the man an escape route. Because I will foresee a situation whereby I'll beat my hands always. In all ramification, I say my hands are clean. I've done what is practically normal for a woman to do, and I wonder why things are going wrong. But if you are the type that use this as a tool, as a chip in your own marriage, because sex is something that is pleasurable, of course we know it's a tie, it binds a relationship. Yeah. It's a bond. But in a situation, something that is meant for pleasure is being negotiated, and some men accept it and they encourage it. At the end of the day, to me, I am puzzled. But sorry to say, it works for some.
Nikki,
Okay, let's hear from a man.
Sex for pleasure, sex for procreation. Which one? Because there are sex for procreation. This woman has been in this house for making all the children.
Yes.
She has never enjoyed sex in that house. Yes.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
I mean, so we really have to talk about this sex for pleasure, because the woman just give birth, giving children.
Yeah, giving you children.
And that's all.
And
that's all.
Yeah.
I don't think comes back to the issue of the mindset. Who, as a woman, when you come into this relationship, what are you expecting? What are your expectations? What is your mindset?
Should have been discussed during courtship.
You see, let me quickly come in here. I remember one time being invited for some kind of wedding, marriage, marriage kind of thing. This really big pastor that I really
like
respect.
a seminar.
Yeah, we was having like a workshop or seminar for married people and all this. And I got there a little bit late because I couldn't leave my place of work when it started. So I got there like an hour later. Apparently, before I came there, I told all the women to put down their concerns, without their names, put down their concerns about the stuff that happens in the other room. And, and quite a few of them had outlined things.
Yes.
So I got in just as we were about starting, and in a very grave tone, the pastor started, like cautioning people who are asking for their wives for oral sex and telling their wives to try this style and the other style and all this. And I was like, I need to leave
right now.
right now, because maybe I'm a little more broad-minded about things like this. So I left because it really wasn't a forum for me. But where I'm coming from on that is this. There are people who believe with their entire soul and being that the only reason why, even especially in marriage, the only reason why a man and a woman should do anything is to have children.
Yeah.
And I remember a pastor put this on Facebook one day, and he received so many queries that at a point he just ran out of breath trying to explain what he was trying to say. Because Somebody like me, for instance, I asked him, I said, so how do you make this happen? You wait until you're certain the woman is ovulating,
Yeah, well.
and that's when you know, or you just, like use these 10 days here to try and see whether conception will happen. How are you doing this? So I think it's safe to say that the teaching I got in my own church is that between a man and his wife, sex is not just for conception. Because there are people who will never even have children. Should we now tell them to get divorced because the babies are not coming? The idea is to bond you, bring you closer, facilitate your relationship, make it even more, pleasant and pleasurable and enjoyable and so on. So I think that if there are people who are coming to this with the mindset of, oh, I just want to get pregnant and pop out babies, then there's a problem there. Yeah. There are also women who cannot do anything on Sunday. They think it's a sin. Yeah, because they're going to church.
I don't know if anyone remembers that pace setter. Too cold for comfort. Oh no! Now that was one of my first encounters with this kind of.
I read it, but I was too young, so I kept looking for who was comfort in the book.
I kind of grasped a few things from that book. If you read, your mind broadens. And I was just about finishing secondary school when I read that book.
Read it, yeah.
And it was about a woman who was so into. The Jesus thing, she was married to Jesus and not to her husband. Yeah. You understand? There was like a code, and the Sunday thing came into that book. You can't do it on Sunday. So many rules. The rules were too many, and the man was totally frustrated. Oh. And of course, that almost ended the marriage. From all I can remember from that book. So. It is, you need to find somebody that is your soulmate when you're married.
Mm-hmm. Having said finding your soulmate, I've heard from colleagues in the office, they're like, okay, once we get married, it's all fire and hormones are raging and everything. But with time and probably after the kids, the woman, most of us sink ourselves so deep into religious activities that we don't give him any attention or give him minimal attention. And, they say it's something that, I'm not saying don't get all spiritual as you get older, you're wiser now, there are a lot of things that you're putting into perspective. But just because, you're usher in the morning and you're cleaning the church in the evening, that doesn't mean you need to neglect your husband, because a lot of us actually find ourselves doing that.
And that's really sad.
A whole other bunch of things that could replace what you've just explained, this scenario. It could be your work, because women are career women these days.
Yes.
You're juggling the home, the children, your career, then your husband. But you know what? If you really, the onus is on the woman, because things are changing pretty fast. And I think it is women who are pacing out now more than men. Women are pacing out. Women are doing more than, say, I presently am doing more than my mom used to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
basically, on a day-to-day basis, I think I'm doing more. I want to do, I'm a little more ambitious than she is. You understand what I'm saying? So we're the ones who are we're pacing out, we're trying to do more. So, but if you have a man in your life, he's your husband, and he means a lot to you, you must find the time to give him that attention that he deserves.
I'm glad
you understand.
Said that.
You must find the time, because if you don't do that, he will resent you. He'll start resenting the children. He will resent your work.
Yeah.
You understand? And guess what? He's going to find it somewhere else.
Any truth to what she's saying?
It's as easy as that. He's just going to find
I think
it.
the only place I see in where the Bible is talking about it, you have to discuss it when you want to tear apart, is during fasting.
Yeah.
It's actually in the Bible, so we have to discuss it, and after the fasting, you people should come back together without anything. There shouldn't be any reason why a man should deny his wife or a wife should deny the husband. It is something that is one of the most important components of marriage. Once you leave it open, Satan can come through that way.
Yeah. I would like to add that is for it's either party really, because she just talked about the lady withholding sex. I believe some men do it too.
Yeah, they do.
Some men do it. It's either way. I just believe relationship is give and take. Yeah. We should just try and find a way to actually balance it. Because in a situation where a man or a woman continually withholds that pleasure from themselves, it could actually degenerate into litigation, because it's actually a ground for divorce in marriage. A situation, because when a woman or a man picks up such a proceeding in the court, is actually entertained. Yeah. For you to continually abstain for no just reason. I am not saying that. I've always said we should not be hypocritically about it. These are things that actually happens in homes.
Yeah, of course.
Some people actually, men do it and the women do it. If you must do that, let it not be a bargain. That is actually the angle that is touching me personally. Don't give it that mental torture of a husband approaching you for what both belongs to two of you, what both of you share, and you are saying no, because I'm angry, because I asked for some funds.
I need to go shopping.
I need to go shopping. I did not do it for me, and I'm not going to let it happen. Yeah. It shouldn't be something that should be encouraged at all. But if I'm not equally saying that, when you are at a feast, when you are at a cross, you are not really happy. Some things are really going wrong, and you have to check it. And the man, you know, at that time you are not actually in the mood.
Yeah, that one is a natural thing.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one pre-planned. You're upset.
If you're upset, you're upset. For a woman, for me, that is a no-brainer.
You can't spend the entire day insulting me and then you think you'll do anything.
I need that space. It's not no-brainer. I mean, you need to know that.
Even at that,
Gloria, we're out of time.
Even at that, from your intuition, the man will really know that this woman is not happy. But for you to totally say no, and I don't care about it, that is the angle I'm against as a bargaining power.
You should marry your friend.
Marry your friend. That's
marry
the
your friend.
line.
The bottom line is marry your friend.
Napoleon, Devan.
Napoleon has something to say.
But sometimes you're angry. This can solve the issue.
No.
Very true.
No, it doesn't work for me. No, it does. No, you can't spend the entire day insulting me and then think something will happen. I'm just in the mood. I'm not romantic.
It's been Sex and Marriage in the Conversation Room. What are your thoughts on the issue? Our social media handles are available on the screen. We would love to hear from you. We always love to get feedback from our viewers out there. So my name is Nikki. I'll be signing off and see you again soon. Thank you so much for joining us.